A lady about the library. But
Good evening, councillors. For those that didn't hear that, obviously the meeting is now being recorded in following our recommendation at the last meeting. Sorry, I had to think about that. We were expecting a couple of people to log into Zoom, but they haven't, which is why the TV is on. But if they do, I'll put it on properly. But in the meantime, we will get started with tonight's full council. So agenda item 1, apologies.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, apologies have been received from Councillor Kev Abbott, Mrs. Yvonne Southwell, and the Town Clerk, Mrs. Barbara Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. I'll start with my first one, and only one actually. Item 13, obviously discussing the Mayor and Deputy Mayor of North Table for 25-26. As my name is mentioned in it, I declare personal interest. I know Councillor Hammett has one, so I'll. Okay, thank you. Are there any others? Councillor Woodham. Of course. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any others? Agenda item 3, question and answer session with members of the public.
We haven't received anything, Mr. Mayor.
Very much. Agenda item 4, news from the Mayor. Obviously, as we've shared, or the Secretary kindly shared last week, we do pass on our recorded condolences to Councillor Southwell following the sad loss of her husband, Ron, and of course to her family and friends at this time. We have sent a letter, a card and some flowers.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
On behalf of us all at this time. And when funeral details become available, we'll make sure that they are shared for anyone that might want to support Yvonne at this time. And just a quick update on the town clerk. We had a good catch up last week. She is starting to get better and feel better, but she will be off for little bit longer. Yeah. But is doing some sort of phased return in essence. So you might see that there might be an odd email here or there. And in fact, I think we've had one today because she is trying to do a little bit to keep active. And she's also very aware and conscious that the end of the financial year is approaching. So she wants to make sure that we keep on top of that. But we do wish Babs all the best in getting better and returning to work when she feels ready and able to do so, and hopefully not before. But with that goes my continued thanks to our secretary Fiona for being outstanding and covering and all the ongoing efforts. So thank you, Fiona.
Cute, kind of you.
Agenda item 5, Mayor's engagements, which are obviously shared by email. Councillor Stevens? No, not yet. Agenda item 6, councillor engagements and community activities. They were obviously shared by email today. Any questions or comments? Councillor Bridges?
All right. Right, okay. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at that and see what's going on with that.
Is it either? Yeah. Okay. I know when I downloaded it earlier to check, the mayor's one was a Word document, so that was different to normal.
Right. Could attach.
Yeah, show off. Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. Secretary will take a look at that. Agenda item 7, then feedback from councillor rep. Oh, sorry.
To me. However, if anybody has read them, they will notice that in the space of a week, I got called by 2 constituents with petition-related offenders. Now, I'm going to lean on the fact that I was the High Court bailiff manager for more than a decade, so ultimately people know that locally, so ultimately that might be also a reason why I was found. But what was most concerning to me was in the local press release how many liability orders BCC have sent to court. I've got a funny feeling that community in a law are going to be entering a very difficult time. And what is concerning is the tactics which the enforcement officers were using, and the fact that police were present on one of these occasions, and what went on was very concerning to me. And I don't know how many others have ever been called in those instances, but I certainly think it's something that, especially because it's a lot of businesses and a lot of residents are going for foul of these measures imminently. I think it's worthwhile people knowing who would be in court. And there are a lot of online resources for others who don't know the legislation on it to veer on. But I just think based on what has been in the local press, rather than the volume of pieces who were sent to court, that is something that could be people's lives everywhere in the county with people. Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Yeah.
A local business enforcement on the street actually. He just had some plant impounded, 5 blocks and 1 bailiffs that gets 6 years old before seizure of the owner relating to rates and things. So they really are digging back. Trying to hold us, I think it's a wood commission. What we can sorry, I think we should perhaps be signposting where people can get help with them.
I'm just wondering if there's a proposal there in terms of gaining some sort of guidance. So if we were contacted, that's the signpost advice that we can give, or we know what we're able to do. Because, you know, if I'm honest, I've not been called to that effect, but I don't know I would be able to react in a similar way to your knowledge because of your past experience, Councillor Bridges. And
However, you know, it's all 5 years, nobody will take. So I've asked them to they could lots of businesses that well, in fact, you know, there are, you know, people don't know them better, they can be quite pressured into, you know, not knowing what they're doing. Particularly while having, you know, reference to the deadline and CAB, because they're nationally recognised organisations that have, you know, harm of it on the website.
Thank you. Agenda item 7 then, feedback from councillor representation on outside bodies. Has anyone, well, yeah, verbal update. Would anyone like to update us? Yeah, Councillor Stevens.
When community funds and they got together with Oxford College and the schools to get people involved in different age categories involved in the environment, the CHS3 and things like that. They can do the courses, what do they say, like 2 days a week, half day on Friday, probably on a Saturday, towards getting this better reward. But because we never had enough people for water to Nayland and Honeybuds, they got to extend it to the payments. Try and get the numbers up. They start this, I think, in September.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Was that part of the Dragon or the Valero group? Yeah, Dragon LNG. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I just, as a side segue, actually, Councillor Gray, maybe something to pick up on for the task and finish group, because that was something we were talking about in the previous meeting. So, yeah, thank you. Councillor Hammett.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, then we just say that, 55. So it's just, we want to agree on, we're going to get around that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be an open invite to all, won't it? Thank you. I was a bit confused. Yeah. Well, would it be best to set a suggested date where we could all congregate? I say all those that were available, and if we could publicise that through the secretary. Is that okay? Yeah, thank you. And I was a little bit confused then when Councillor Sharp asked about date and time, because I thought that was going to be the suggestion of the topic rather than what's the date and time. And of all the people present, I thought he would remember that coming into existence. So there we go. Councillor Gray.
I was just going to say what Will said, and we had one before, I think we were they went to the chambers and we had to go in the chambers, and it's really good. So I'd encourage everyone.
Yeah.
I'll put my name forward.
Yeah. Sadly, that's one thing that we do miss by not having a chamber, is inviting school groups and organisations into the chamber. Yeah. Okay, any other verbal updates? Thank you. That was good. Agenda item 9, minutes of the meeting of the full council held on the 10th of February, page 156. Oh, we have a second. Oh, Councillor Bridges.
Have emailed the tech injuries, but I give it credit for I also say that I have confidence in that one of the minutes is the more reflective tone of sitting on it. So I feel certainly what I wish to think statement with there's a room for improvement, and they say they'll be very good. So very
Oh, thank you, Councillor Bridges. That's very kind of you. Oh, no.
Yeah, all those in favour?
Oh.
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 10 then. received reports, recommendations, and resolutions of the following committees. So if I'll ask the chair of the first one to recommend.
So, if I think, do they really manage the policy pattern in this?
I haven't done that yet. Sorry, councillor Bridges, but I will get onto that ASAP tomorrow. It will, oh,
Okay, so page by page for the grant review one, then 153. 154. 155. Minutes have been moved as a whole. So unless there are any questions to either seconder. All those in favour? Councillor Gray, would like to move.
Public events, this is 164. Page 1. Sorry, it's 164.
Yeah, so just to remind the chairs, you recommend approval of the minutes, and then I'll go page by page.
Do you reckon?
Okay, so page 164. 165. 166. And 167. Okay. Unless there are any questions, do you have a seconder? Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you. Agenda item 11 then, further discussion on the Milford Haven Library. And obviously there's a letter there from Mr. Mike Kavanagh. And just to remind everyone following last week's special full council, this is about the discussion for future support moving forward past this coming financial year. So what will that be, 25, 26 onwards? Yeah, trying to think about the date then in my head. Yes, of course. Right. So obviously the request is to consider the sort of financial contribution of £13,000 over the 5-year or a rolling 1-year commitment or 5-year commitment. One thing I would say at the moment, in terms of making a decision such as that, we did agree with the port that we would continue discussions with them and how we would best collaborate. So I don't think we're going to be able to necessarily agree on such a decision this evening, particularly around the financial cost, because we haven't had those continuing discussions. But whether there's a recommendation out of this around some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some certainty for the library for, the years after this current financial year. But one thing as I'm trying to re-emphasise, I guess, is our commitment to both the library and the port that we would continue discussions. Councillor Sharp?
I agree exactly what you said. I think I personally would need to have Mr. Sawyer back here to actually find out what his intentions are for the next few years. I very much think being involved in a 5-year agreement is a great idea. What level the council contributes, until we know what Tom's ideas are for the future. I agree with everything you say. I don't actually feel I could sit here and say definitely let's go for 5 years, contribute 13,000. I would need to see what Mr. Sawyer wants to discuss as well. So I think we should, my recommendation would be as a council to invite him back to a meeting so we can discuss this, the further plans down the line, so what they're thinking, contributing, if anything, over the next 5 years.
Thank you. Just before I take any amendments or further discussions, have we got a seconder for that? Yeah.
Amendment.
Oh, you're going to amend that, you?
I agree with what you're saying, but I think we did discuss with Tom that for this year we would do the 3,000 and they would do.
Yeah, that's
7.
correct. Yeah.
And then after that we would review with Tom of what plans were for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And with Mr.
Kavanagh.
Kavanagh.
Yeah.
Also then look at a possibility of other buildings where maybe we could find our home in them buildings as well. So I think we can agree on the first year, but not after that until we see Tom.
Sorry, so yeah, so just to deconflict that slightly, we have already agreed year one, so 25, 26 financial year. That's not the bit in question, it's the future years then. So I think what you actually said is the proposal that Councillor Sharp already said, so you're happy to second that? Yeah, thank you. Councillor Jones, you were first.
Maybe, but I'm thinking, I'm not gonna take advantage of this saying only 1 year, but that's what he's asking for subsequent years.
He's holding the price.
He's holding the price at the moment, but the longer we wait, the more chances it is just gonna raise that. And the sooner we get on this,
Yeah, fair point.
with them.
Okay, yeah, fair point. Councillor Bridges, you were next.
One thing about the fact that we're being important,
Yeah.
I just deal with, for example, in Scotland, we remind them of the fact that the council is giving the budget. So, completely, however, I just want to come back on the chart and say, now I'm only speaking from my personal view of the impression that I am obviously from myself and I've been that's probably the last thing you can say. I mean, I believe at the time in that meeting that feeling was more so that we would be separate this year, not in the future.
Yeah.
So I believe that my feeling is that they be separate in the future. But it's the case of he did emphasize obviously to us for a whole. There may be no future assistance from them. So I think it would be worthwhile for obviously discussions at least to begin on whether we would be looking to set that at the moment. If we are going to, what, if any, is the actual, if anyone mentioned before, what effect would that have on the council tax? And what would it actually be if we were to?
I did, it was about 2 months. Was it 2?
Councillor Woodward, yeah. What were you saying then, sorry?
I can answer that, but not know what the figure is.
Do you want to tell us all? Yeah.
In relation to that, currently it would have £2.40 to £2.60.
It was something, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's in that region, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
But maybe to come back on one small point, please. Mike Kavanagh has said if we agree to a 5-year plan, he will hold it at £13,000 per annum for 5 years. If we go for the option 1, it would increase by an annual basis in line with inflationary pressure and staffing costs. So just to clarify that.
Thank you. Councillor Woodham.
The wording of the recommendation.
Process that starts with development officers of the port, because it's obviously a very busy man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be a delay getting into the have a discussion, happy to see about the future, absolutely more. If we could start the discussions.
Yeah, that's good.
Which I'll forward potentially follow.
Good point. Good point. Councillor Sharp, Councillor Gray, I propose a second. Are you happy to change that word in? Yeah, okay, thank you. Councillor Hartwell. Thank you. Councillor Beavis Morrissey.
Do we not need to make a decision on whether we're actually willing to help them over the next 5 years and a figure that we are thinking of before we talk to other people? Because if we go into a meeting blank, like if we look at it and say, right, we can only afford 7,000 per year for the next so many years, are you able to help for the next however many years? Are they going to pay towards it or whatever? Or don't we need a figure in mind before we go into that? Because if we're willing to help them and we set up how many years we want to help them and what sort of figure we're looking at helping them with, then they can try and find sources to build up with us to get that figure to where they want it to be, rather than keep saying no and then waiting for another meeting when we don't know what we're going to even do at the minute.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point. And like anything, until we really get to the next precept, it is all very unknown. However, we did make a commitment to the port and to the Pembrokeshire County Council just last week that we would continue that discussion. And I think regardless of the figure, it's important that that discussion happens. But because equally, you know, as Councillor Bridges has already alluded to, we don't know what the port might be prepared to offer next year. If anything, we may be in a different scenario in terms of, you know, we're not necessarily meeting here, we could be meeting at the library or another venue. So some of these costs might change a little bit based on that. And without sharing a confidential email at the moment, that there has been a possibility of a potential new venture with the library in terms of moving. But that's very much not for us at the moment. That's for the county council to pursue. So some costs might actually change. I don't know. So I think the engagement with the port is the important thing right now. Once that engagement's happened and we then have the rough idea of what they're prepared, what county council actually need from us, we might have a better understanding of what that figure might actually look like.
They'll obviously be discussing that before coming to us on a rough figure anyway, so shouldn't we really have a figure in place? Not go and say that we can offer you this, but shouldn't we have, they're going to come to us with a figure that they think they can do every year or for the next 2 years or whatever it be, and we're going to have nothing to offer, because then we need to go for another meeting to discuss cost-wise or whatever. That's all I'm saying, is they're obviously going to be talking about it behind.
Yeah.
Like before the meeting,
So,
on an idea of their cost, and we're going to have nothing to bring forward as to ours. We'll have to have another meeting again, which has been prolonged for even longer.
Minimum and maximum.
Yeah, like, and how long are we even prepared to? We can't sign up to say 5 years, but are we going to do it for the next 2? Because obviously we don't know where costs are going to be, which is, you know, which is fair, but surely we need to be able to come into a meeting with something.
Yeah, okay. Are you wanting to make an amendment then?
Yeah.
And what will that be?
I don't know, but we need to make.
Okay.
I'm not very good with the wording, but.
I'll come back to you then. Have a think whilst I go around to the next hands up. Councillor Bridges.
See, and Councillor Woodward, wanted to elaborate on after the meeting we had at the library and discussing it and understanding the role that the current plays in the community role, I would have happily supported us funding. However, I felt it was good course to sort of seek alternative options, considering that we had an opportunity to have a sexual fallout. But I will say that if we didn't, I would eagerly propose we did fund that precept for it, because at the moment, on a wider picture in Milford, there is there's a very big feeling that a lot has been taken in the last couple of years, you know, and And not everybody feels the same. There has been another comment about the video, speaking with a lot of people saying negative things. You can never keep everyone happy. Some people feel it's not necessary for it. However, on balance, I believe that it is a necessary function and required. And it is exactly with more than just a library. It's acting as a community centre, community hub. You know, the elderly, the babies, children, it's a wide variety of age now. I believe that it would be a very good thing for us to support going forward, even if we do not have support from the court. However, I do believe that within the track of the budget, I'm speaking with Tom, I think it's got a very big country for that, but it's a fantastic year. I do believe that they do have it within the budget, they will continue to support it. But as Councillor Hartwell and Morrison has said, it is a case of, I think the library staff would like to see it. I think I would be happy if in future weeks, you know, we don't make any progress with knowing there is a job offer in the future. I would be glad to support as precepting it for the next financial year. But some people might not be happy with that, but I think on balance, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. Just before I go to the next question, have you thought about your amendment yet?
Can we put like a minimum and a maximum of what we think we could support for the next year in our precept maybe? Or something like that, I don't know.
Okay. I'll think about that for a second. Councillor Hartevelt.
And yeah, we'll step into the next 3 to 5 years, which essentially leaves us and the court potentially supporting the library. And if in 5 years the council pulls the right back, then we're left holding the baby. And if anything happens, then that's going to be our fault and it's going to be your fault. I know that the court is of that feeling. I think committing for 3 to 5 years is going to have to take a lot of discussion. Plus, we have also just taken on a huge loan for the cemetery that we need to pay back. We've got to do the cemetery, which is going to cost. So I just need to make sure that we're not going to be putting up people's council tax by ridiculous amounts of money to make ourselves something that's not sustainable for us.
Councillor Woodham.
We're already talking about precept 2026.
Yeah.
It's not even, we're not even financially certified.
Yeah.
So it just feels very premature. Whilst I know Mr. Cannavale was very keen to offer certainty, that is, we know the country council, I'd like to, but I'm not comfortable with this again. What is needed to be fixed at 13,000 pages. It's a bit of an odd proposal to me, but we go, that has been said. But I don't see how it is that this year. So we start discussions with the court, because some of the things that we want to do, want to potentially have additional costs, they might actually reduce the costs. So we just don't know. So it seems inappropriate to me at the moment to actually put any minimum or maximum, because we don't know. Better to start discussions as soon as possible and see where those discussions go. But as those discussions we might feel as a council, that takes us to a place where we're quite comfortable. And just well be clear, so we don't quite supportive of the library, and I think it is something that we should be very much involved and engaged with. But we've got to approach these things in the right way.
Okay.
And I think we need to have discussions and follow the procedure to get to the want to get.
Thank you, councillor Gray.
We totally agree with what Guy is saying. And we should be cautious, because my worry is, how do we make it sustainable? There's nothing has convinced me that the library is going to be sustainable. Us just putting a few quid here and somebody else putting, that doesn't make it sustainable. I haven't seen anything come to the table that makes it sustainable. That's my only worry, is doing a commitment to it.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah.
Usually involved.
Especially with a limbo.
All right, thank you, councillor Bridges.
That's the word. So, I think important, I think. Okay. I like you to have to say, if we were to enter into a multi-year, they would caveat that if the financial situation changed and they were no longer able to sustain the current service level without our agreement with the board.
Yeah.
Therefore, we would not entitle to do so. Therefore, if the financial situation did change, we would not, as you say, be picking up a further burden automatically that we would then be able to do. But am I correct in that?
Yeah, and that we could include caveats. Yeah, so for our own safety net, for want of a better expression. Yeah. Councillor Woodward.
From the point of view of the authority, I'm set they entered into a 27-year lease with ACC in the library, and they are very, very keen to maintain that if possible. Now, one of the PCC decided to move the library to that extent, the Port Authority has indicated they will continue to subsidise by over 50% the rent the library continue paying currently, and will continue to do so. Certainly for the next 5 years or so. And as we just said, that we won't have it in there, but should anything substantially change, we can walk away from it. What they're after, what they're basically saying is, look, we'll hold the rent, and we're going to, over the cost of the lease, £500,000, if the council wants to give us a similar, not quite but you know, a similar long-term security to go with this. Because otherwise it's a one-sided venture, which is a fair enough comment.
Thank you, councillor Jones. So you talk, yeah. It's a very good suggestion. I'm sure councillor Hammett is writing it away, ready for engagement. Perhaps that's a future session with us and the youth council. Actually, good idea. Okay, so we've had a proposal that we start engaging with the port to discuss the future plans, which has been proposed and seconded. There was an amendment around setting a minimum and maximum pre-set consideration.
That money, it's literally like, right, so if we go for a meeting and like we've got a figure, say, right, okay, maybe it's not actually set in stone that we're going to say pay £3,000 again, but so that we know, like if he says something like, no, do 8, well, that's well out of our budget then, because there's no way that we can fund the rest. I can't really get my point across, but it's not to say we'll definitely give that money, but if he comes to us and says,
okay, my concern, yeah.
I don't know where we're going to be or how we're going to fund money, but I'm just thinking before the next meeting then maybe that's something we need to discuss around.
Yeah.
Are we wanting to help then? Because I really vote if we're going to want to help for the next 1, 2 or 5 years.
Well, we've committed, yeah,
We've already done that.
We've committed.
saying to me through, like, on the last meeting, that they want an answer.
Yeah, so we've committed to discussion, not committed to any amount. I think, and Councillor Sinnott or Woodham might correct me, but I think procedurally, if we set an amount now, then we've agreed as a council that we're committed to that amount. That would be the issue, and as Councillor Woodham brought up previously, and we would then go to the port with a figure in our head. I say in writing, which then ties us in. I think the discussion, it needs to be very much that, a discussion for future consideration. Yeah. Okay. So with that in mind, the only thing I would add, Councillor Sharp and Councillor Gray as the proposed seconder, that we send a holding response to Mike Kavanagh to thank him for the letter, as he will be aware because he was present on the 14th, no, I can't remember what the date was now, 16th, was it? The last special full council meeting, 17th, that we have committed to discussing with, engaging with the port, and we are now acting on that, just to make sure that we've covered all bases. Yeah. Okay, so with that in mind, that's the proposal. Any last amendments? All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against or abstaining? Thank you very much. Agenda item 12, outstanding planning applications, February 2025. Councillor Woodward.
Darren Briggs, Millstones. This is quite complex actually, but basically it's seeking approval of variations of various technical conditions. Having loosely looked through, they appear to have been granted by the relevant authorities and departments within inside PCC. For most of this, it appears to be a legal exercise, almost in saying, we've now got permission to make these changes, we'd like to make these changes. So in that sense, I recommend that it goes ahead. There's no material changes in that sense.
Any amendments or items on that? Otherwise, have we got a seconder? And all in favour? Yeah. Okay. Anyone? No, that was unanimous. Good. Thank you.
Just to explain to the council, due to an email from, I only received these applications myself. I'm very getting, so I have not had a chance to delve into it like I normally do, unfortunately. So, the next one, 2409 7th time, Mr. Dean John Clayton Rectory Avenue. Hakin, it's purely an extension to the rear of it. I've looked at the plans. There's been, as far as I'm aware, no objections to an OPCC website. Again, all relevant departments passed different clearance. No objections to here.
We've got a seconder? Yeah. Any amendments to it? Otherwise, all those in favour? Okay, that was unanimous. Yeah, thank you.
Next two can actually be taken together. They're to refer to the same property. 241000. This is the old Chinese restaurant on Hamilton Terrace. Okay. It's been purchased. The person seeking to make changes. Now, it is a grade 2 listed building. So various departments, PCC and other places have looked into this. I think we are also making this, but it is. The only material change I can see from the front is the addition to a third window on the third story, and they're adding a big window in. Basically wanting to break the building into 3 properties. From the front, there doesn't appear to be a lot of difference. The rendering remains representation. There are some considerable changes to the back. From what I can see, it does not appear to directly impact or affect anybody else. So again, unless there are any amendments, I recommend proposal for this.
Do we have a seconder? Yeah. Any amendments? All those in favour? Okay. Anyone? No, that was unanimous, so that's fine. Thank you.
The last and final one is a bit different. 121 Robert Street, 24 123, so 0. 2, 3. This is a single story double, I beg your pardon. It's, yeah, okay, yeah, sorry. There is currently, and let me put it in the picture, sorry, go back. You have the Welsh Bakery, you have the Manchester Square facility there. There is an alleyway between the two that leads down to the cutway by the old post office. There, some years back, next door to the Welsh Bakery, there has already been an extension.
You're on the wrong one.
You missed one.
You missed one. You're on.
I have, I beg your pardon, which makes can I come back?
Yeah, finish what you're saying.
Sorry, I.
At least we know they were awake.
Yeah. You've got the Welsh Bakery, you've got something called from memory, the Sanctuary that was built next door. That was very garage some years ago. This is two doors down from the Sanctuary. I've got real concerns with this. This is currently a single story, rendered asbestos roofed standard garage. They want to replace that with a double story extension to create a 3-bedroom dwelling there in an alleyway directly facing the medical centre. I don't know, to me I've got concerns there. I concern over privacy of neighbours. It overlooks part of the court flats next door to it. I can't remember what they're called now, I'm not sure yeah. And it overlooks those. Potentially, it could create privacy issues for the medical centre. Potentially, it seems a very strange location to me. But a 2-story extension. I can't even quite see the plans how it's quite going to fit on the plot. Actually, to be honest with you, but they've got plans there. So. I'm really not quite sure. I'm not feeling too long for this one because personally, I don't feel happy about it.
Thank you, Councillor Bridges. Thank you, Councillor Bevis Morrissey.
Basically the same as Councillor Bridges was saying, and I don't think like privacy really is up to us, because most of the places here have got upstairs bedrooms, houses all by this, just got like bedrooms upstairs which are overlooking most of the places, so.
No, it's just different because you're talking about the back of the property, not.
Most places though, if people can look in a garden these days, it's houses are built back to back. But in most streets though, most gardens and stuff are back to back now.
Yes.
So I think for the privacy type of things, I wouldn't bother suggesting it to the back. If they've got issues, then they can bring them up themselves. I respect what you're saying, but a lot of places now are, they're just children wherever they can, aren't they? So there's a shortage and most places are looking over each other's properties or into.
Thank you, Councillor Sharp.
I always, when I reply to the application, I tend to always put in line, as long as there is no objections from local residents. Do we know if there has been any objections? Because I understand where you're coming from, Councillor Woodward, but I do disagree with you. It is down to the individual to explain, so I wonder if we are aware of any objections.
I'm not, there's nothing at the moment on the ECC website.
I think Councillor Bridges is correct in saying that as a council, we represent the local individuals. I don't think we have the right to object. That's my first. There might still be approval as long as no local objections, as long as no objections from local residents.
Okay, so is that a recommendation? Councillor Sharp. Okay, so just so we've got a recommendation for approval. Do we have a second of that? Yeah. Okay. And as long as no objections, are there any amendments to that? Okay. So, all those in favour of recommending approval as long as there are no objections? Thank you. Anyone against or abstaining? And then last one then.
On list 24, 10, 12, 25 Black Bridge Crescent. Erecting a single story extension to the rear of the property. I've seen the plans in front of me, I've seen the plot details. I'm not aware of any objections, fairness unless somebody else is. Then, we'll recommend proceeding.
Seconded. All those in favour? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 13 then, Mayor and Deputy Mayor of North Haven 2025-2026. Obviously you've all seen the report in the pack. Sadly that Councillor Davis, the Deputy Mayor, has informed both the clerk and I that he's not able to stand for the position of Mayor moving forward. I'll just ask Councillor Davis if he wants to say anything else on that rather than just what's in the report. Obviously don't feel that you have, if you don't wish to, that's fine.
There are certain details that I don't want to discuss.
Yeah.
Council, but I feel that at the moment I couldn't give this council or the people of Milford Haven my full support, and I'm personally under a doctorate at the moment, and I have further treatments to go through before. So on this occasion, I'd like to stand down.
Yeah. Just to obviously echo what I've said privately to Councillor Davis, that we fully respect and support his decision, and I know it's not been an easy decision for him to make. But we obviously appreciate that everything that he's done as Deputy Mayor and will continue to do as Deputy Mayor until the handover in May. Okay, Councillor Gray.
I would just like to thank Councillor Davis for his honesty and
Yes.
his bravery
Yes.
in bringing it to attention before any elections are held. So thank you for that, and good luck and thanks for what you're doing up to now anyway.
Yeah, I echo that. Thank you. With that in mind, there are two recommendations that are within the pack. The first one is that I am prepared, willing is maybe the right word, to remain as the mayor for a further year if that's what the council would like. But personally, I would prefer to know that sooner rather than later, hence it coming tonight. Just so I can plan my own diary for the next year. Obviously, that wasn't the original intention. But of course, I also don't want councillors to feel that they necessarily have to be railroaded to having it as me. So the other recommendation is that it can go to open advert, ideally suited for someone that has been the mayor before. But obviously not restricted, and provided they meet the criteria for what would be the deputy mayor, isn't it? I'm trying to think what that is off the top of my head, but Fiona might be able to advise us properly in a minute. And of course, the position of deputy mayor would continue as normal. March or April, isn't it?
March. We open where we invite nominations in March.
Okay, Councillor Gray. Oh, April, May. Thank you. Yeah.
I would just like to say, I think having done a 2-year because of COVID and other reasons, it is a big commitment. But if you're willing, I think we would be fools not to let you continue. And when a new deputy is elected, obviously then you can share the responsibilities. And if they need assistance, then you're the ideal then to say, well, break you in is not the correct word, but do you know what I mean? But yeah, but I would recommend that Councillor Elliott remains the mayor for a second period.
Okay, thank you. Just before I open for amendments, then, is there a seconder for that proposal? Yeah, okay, thank you. Councillor Woodward.
I was just going to say, I think you've done a tremendous job last year. It's shown strong leadership. We've got a difficult 12 months coming ahead of us in several different ways. And I feel that the mayor needs to be a person with experience and leadership. I don't think it's very right to have two total offices as mayor and deputy there. I really don't. I do feel in spirits there, something with a trainee. Yes, I wholeheartedly second that proposal.
Thank you. Councillor Woodham, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say, if I always have 18 town councillors, and that would want to
Yeah.
This, however, is a unique situation, because when you look back at what the COVID years,
Yeah.
it was the same mayor and the same deputy.
Yeah.
And then it took over. It would be a big ask for someone new to come and just immediately go into the unit. So I do feel that. And then we would have a more election. And I will encourage anybody to go to do it, because I think if they will bring something different, if you haven't had the opportunity to do it before, and you should go. I can go if you want to do it before. We'll take that, but I'm not just really happy with it.
Okay, thank you. Absolutely, thank you. I would also just like to confirm that obviously I have spoken with my consort and partner, and he is equally supportive as he always is, and he's happy to continue. Okay, are there any amendments then before we put that to the vote? Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Yes, Fred, you're welcome to the second year to your opinion.
Oh, right, well, thank you. Okay. Oh, well, thank you very much. So, all those in favour then that I continue?
oh.
Unanimous. Thank you very much for your, yeah, I do, yeah. Thank you very much for your support. Yeah, that does mean a lot. Thank you very much. And of course, yeah, no problem. Thank you. And of course, I'm delighted that Councillor Davis will be remaining with us at the council regardless, and I look forward to continuing to working with him and whoever the new deputy mayor might be for the ensuing year. Right, agenda item 14 then is request from Uman, Ukraine. So please see attached the email and the translations.
I looked at that and I thought, that's not Welsh.
It's Councillor Shah.
Right. My heart, especially as the council representative for the Twinning, would so like to jump onto this, so speaking. My main concerns is Councillor Woodham and myself visiting Ukraine there, and you have to fly into, which at the moment, if we wanted to visit, then is a very dangerous area to fly into. I don't think the political reasons and the safety of any councillor going there is a good idea. I also have concerns on the other side, how we will get these people out. You know, they're asking if we could have some orphans, and trust me, we let loads of orphans when we went to Ukraine, and they're so loving.
Oh.
I would bend over backwards if I thought it was safe and there was a way of protecting them when they were here as well, because obviously they have to go to our home. You'd have to have DBS checks. You know, how many would you take? Where would you put them? I think the logistics, although my heart is breaking on this because of what's going on in that situation at the moment, I really feel that unfortunately, I don't think at the moment us going there is a wise idea. How we get them out and how we would logistically be able to safeguard them in Milford or in surrounding areas at the moment. I, with a very, very heavy bag, don't know how we can achieve this both ways, I'm afraid. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Jones.
Would you agree with that? There's a lot of exchanges. I mean, I know I did exchanges with France, I did exchanges in Germany. They have this. Have people there that were experienced in setting up exchanges. You didn't say what age group. And I'm thinking, well, if maybe it was comprehensive age that they were talking, it might be worth opening into discussions with the language department, whatever, whoever it was arranged the exchanges with the schools and things.
Thank you. Councillor Gray?
I'm sure, don't we have some families that the Welsh government did that agreement that are living in Wales and in Pembrokeshire?
Yeah.
We not forward their details on to whoever was in charge of that department? We brought so many in, didn't they, Welsh
I
government,
don't know.
got them homes.
Yeah, I don't think. Councillor Sharp?
Thank you. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, and in the past, as you know, Mr. Mayor, because you were involved in this as well.
Yeah.
We have both had the Ukrainian people over here, the Human over here before. We welcomed them several times, actually, again, as part of Twinning. I've been there, Mr. Mayor was there, and other mayors have been there. We have done that in the past, and I sincerely hope we can do that in the future. But I think with what is still going on in the country, to get them in and out, and the paperwork that was being made, it's not as simple as it was. Yes, we did do, and there was, you know, the Welsh government got involved in a lot of the Ukrainians coming over. You know, they've got higher powers than we have. And in the past, we have done it, and I sincerely hope in the future we have. That's one of the main airports is to get them in and out is not going to be easy at the current situation. So unless somebody else can come up with a better idea, I really, really feel with that behalf, the logistics very hard. The Twinning could look into it, more than happy to do that. Twinning at the moment is very few members, majority passed away. Peter's showing no interest.
So would it be appropriate then that we defer this to the Twinning Association for consideration?
I could, if I may, Mr. Mayor, through you. I mean, we've got contact with Tamara, who's the lady that always comes over, and she's our regular translator. I could perhaps ask her how easy or how it would be possible to the risks. I could ask her, etc. I mean, Umam, our Twinning town, is a little way from it. It is a little way, but when I'm speaking to her many times, she's still even there. They're down in bunkers. They're having a really rough time, which is why it's a really heavy heart. But the logistics are going to be very, very hard, I believe, at the moment. But I'm more than happy to speak to Tamara on behalf of the council to see how she feels.
Thank you. Councillor Woodham?
All I was going to say is that there's a school there in the council. Maybe the right phrase there is that then we have the answer to those questions. What are those associated in someone going and so if someone should I or then that's then maybe we turning our back on of demand, but I understand exactly what council staff today and
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the right recommendation then that would be that we defer this to our Milford Haven Twinning Association, of which Councillor Sharp represents us as a representative on, for further discussion, because we do historically lean on them for liaison with the twin towns, because there's two, and opportunities such as this. and then come back to us with what's in the art of the possible and perhaps what could or couldn't be supported. Do we have a seconder for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any amendments or further additions to that?
I was gonna say, expectation is the thing of what are we as a town council expected to provide for them, and we do that, you know, it's-
We have we have a very small budget now. Because we used to apply every year,
Yeah.
but then it was agreed that we would only apply for something when and if it was needed. We have that just over £1,000, so we haven't got a great amount of money getting here. I think it's another thing that we need to get into though. What would be expected? How many? You know, and how do you choose? I think it is really down to investigating into
Yeah.
it more, speaking.
What's in the
to
art of the
Laura,
possible?
And she could be in contact, she's our contact with the mayor as well.
Okay.
And so I think we just need to investigate all that things.
Plan timetable,
Yeah.
outline of what's going to happen, etc. Provide transport would be provided, and get us food, do everything. So I think it is something, as Councillor Sharp says, things that are different now with twinning associations. So this like identify issues there with twinning associations.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe they need some new membership.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that the conversations to happen through the twinning association to actually identify this.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Okay. Councillor Jones?
Yeah.
on families that took in, got Lisa, who's over for her birthday, and they've got a flat and everything. Not necessarily suitable for young people. You know what I mean? This was adults coming in, and people that were with their parents. So those that there's like government money there, but they'd have to go through it.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't agreed to do that anyway. I don't think we'd be able to. Yeah. Yeah, not a problem. Councillor Sharp, yeah.
Right now, no, this is being recorded, so eventually.
Yes,
Going
good point.
slightly. Right. Sorry.
AKA.
So we've had a proposal. Sorry, is that?
Can I just ask for that, surely because it is a war zone time, still in war zone time, that our insurance would need to be involved as well.
So yeah, so the recommendation is that we defer this to our twinning association, and they explore what is in the art of the possible, including all ramifications and risks, and then to come back to us should they or not wish to proceed, and how we need to support that or not.
And
Okay.
acknowledge it.
Yeah, and acknowledge it. Very good point. All those in favour? Thank you. That was unanimous. Agenda item 15 then, representation on an outside body, Milford Haven Community Primary School. Is anyone prepared to step up as a decision?
Oh,
She got there. What's that? It's not a report anyway. So, Councillor Bridges, is that you nominating yourself? Yeah.
From councillors who may not know.
Oh, it's, just to stop for a second, we're talking about the representation on Milford Haven Community Primary School, which doesn't have a report attached. You've jumped to 16, but as you've nominated yourself, Yeah. So just, just to confirm, I thought you were nominating yourself to become the additional community governor. Okay.
Oh,
Right, so just to restart that, is there anyone willing to be an additional community governor representing us at the Milford Haven Community Primary School? The community primary school. Yeah. Yeah, it is actually. Okay, okay, so we've got a proposer and a seconder for Councillor Stevens. All those in favour? All the hands went up before I said that then. Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 16, bullying concerns in Milford Haven. Please see attached email. Councillor Bridges. Oh, sorry. Yes. Was it prejudicial? Yeah. What was on the form?
It's not prejudicial.
Yes. It's prejudicial. Well, prejudicial, yeah. It depends what. Yeah, that's true. Councillor Hammett's husband is an employee at the school in question.
so what we can do, we're just saying, at the time it doesn't mean we should speak on it, she's already seen the email, why would she need to leave as well?
It depends what we discuss and then we vote on. Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. Yeah, Councillor Woodham is right. It's a personal decision. Yeah, it's just because of the employed part. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Bridges, yeah.
So just really, the last one is because, you know, what my interest, I think the research really would, matter. I think something that comes to know, because I think the footer, the organisation is a little bit misleading. So just to make clear, this is an individual who is the director of a private limited company. It is not a charitable organisation. It is a new brand new limited company. So we are replying to an individual. I think that's important to remember. But I've got no issue with the content of the email. I think it's very worthwhile to kind of achieve, like also get rid of the effects on people. I think as a town council, that we can synthesize and say we are not one specifically targeted dealing with this issue specifically, and that we should send an email back to the effect of, whilst we do not lead on any specific issue relating to this subject, we're more than happy to support any initiatives that may be risen or we can get behind. I think that's a clear response in the fact that we cannot lead on this subject in the sense that we are not. I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm not taking that context, because we do have a councillor who does lead on that specific subject. However, I'm not saying as a town council specifically we do not lead on that particular subject, and that's why we're not going to lead on anything specifically. We'll happily support them and put forward to us if suggested. And that would be a fair response.
Councillor Woodward.
Just as a little bit of background, please. The individual that's written the letter, being very careful here, is a former candidate. He has already posted considerable amounts of that position on Facebook. He runs the group admin of Milford Town, Haven Town and surrounding communities group. I am very conscious. This is such a serious issue, Lynn. I would not like to see it politicised in that way. I think the council should do everything it can. There's perfectly qualified councillors that can speak better on it, but I am very wary of responsible people and this becoming a politicised issue in a negative manner for somebody's personal campaigning.
Thank you. Councillor Harteveld.
I wholeheartedly agree that this is obviously, it is a huge problem in Milford in general, but it is being brought by this individual, and I agree. I don't think that we should per se get involved in his agenda. However, we did talk about this in our future generation hearing on that. We do need to take this subject broadly to the youth, and obviously bullying being and it's towards that. But we need to take that down ourselves, not under this
agenda from this individual, but we do need to address it as a town council. We do have a responsibility in some way, shape or form to address it, just not in this way.
Councillor Gray?
Ask, it says AJO and CEO and founder, SARS Cymru. Does anybody know what SARS is?
Just a simple question, I'm not really leaving with it. It's a private limited company, anybody, company, everything. So anybody can create a company on limited company's house. That's what he's called it. I don't know what the SARS stands for, however, it doesn't matter because it's simply a company name. It's not a representation of any, governing body or anything of that, or a charity, anything of that nature. It is simply a brand new limited company, which effectively is an individual.
Yeah, he goes out and wills it or
What I'm not supporting is
he claims he goes out and supports incidents and helps community and things. There have been issues surrounding the use of blue lights and things where both sides have been very careful what I say here.
Yeah, I can't actually find what it stands for, but not that that matters. But yeah, I don't know. It might not even be an abbreviation, actually. It might just be the name. Yeah, Councillor Bridges.
I know. Very good, factual response. I don't think we should comment on any stories that we don't know if they're true or not, because it is going to be limited. They want to say this is a general comment. I am aware of the comments that those were just made. However, we don't know if in fact it will be very careful and really used.
Thank you. Councillor Woodham. Yeah.
And very aiming and for the national issue, we are a town council, and we have representation on the town council to be able to take forward things within local payment when they do come to us in the right capacity. We have a fund then for activities, etc. Because we do have for many years had the
Good. Are you happy to propose that? Yeah. Do we have a seconder? Oh, there was. Yeah. Any amendments? All those in favour? Okay, thank you. We'll just let Councillor Hammett know she can come back in.
Stop.
Okay, agenda item 17, schedule of accounts January 2025. Councillor Bridges.
What is actually protocol? Because we're spending £4,000 a year on photocopy fees. My understanding is that council has given an allowance for their own printing businesses. I'm just curious to know what are we photocopying?
We photocopy cemetery forms, cemetery booklets, deeds. For example, when we had the recent memorial service, we photocopied the programs. We photocopy maybe some of the agenda packs. It depends. I mean, sometimes it is. I mean, with the recent memorial service, we had quite a bit of photocopying there, and sometimes we have quite a few burials, purchases. It kind of, you know,
It does
yeah, I would say varies. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And of course, events, you know, but
Yeah.
the contract.
Clearly photocopying.
Don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wondering, is it cost effective to have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I was just asking the secretary, which, you know, I appreciate I'm putting her on the spot because she's not the clerk, but I was asking about what our terms of conditions are. You know, are we tied into a contract? Is that the issue?
we've had this one for quite a while. I can't remember.
I don't think we're
exactly
going to be able to
the
answer that right
time.
now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
can
I
have a
think
look. Yeah,
perhaps for
yeah,
a future meeting, if
Yeah.
you can.
yeah,
Costs that they buy on top of the actual equipment can be quite excessive in the period of management. Like you wonder whether or not we might have a way. We were able to send between 300, even, you know, 300 pounds as well as, you know, potentially get that adds up. So, curious to know how much we are actually filtered properly and see what wrong we justify on that.
Yeah, no, good point. The secretary will look into our current contract and time left, etc. Councillor Hartdell.
I want to say that I think there's been quite a lot, but also it's a very efficient machine, so you've got to look at the cost savings for the labour cost savings as well. So I'm going to try and manually do that and to balance it out when it can take a few hours, which is going to add up. So maybe just looking to import the machine and buy our own and options.
Councillor Woodward? Yeah.
The print as well, so that cost.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So maybe something it will take our cheaper laser printers to our places, not then a constant mark of somebody else.
Yeah. I just to pick up on Councillor Hartevelt's point, actually, if we had a cheaper laser printer, for example, we would then require someone to staple all the booklets together, for example. And, yeah. Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. No. Councillor Fiddle.
If you're having bins of, let me know when we get for event that we have, or we can do it.
That's a good, fair point. Yeah, no, so, all very valid points. I think in order just to move on, because we're actually on the schedule at accounts, I'll ask the secretary to explore what our current contract is, terms of lease, so that we can continue that discussion once we've got those facts in front of us. And the volume, yeah.
Lease
Yeah,
and volume. Yep,
good.
got it.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Councillor Woodward? Yeah?
This is all, the British thing actually, this electricity costs £40.
Yeah.
Cannot be right, I'm sorry, it just cannot be.
That has changed. Yeah.
This, I don't know if this covered December. I can't say for sure, but the clerk and I would have been away for,
So
would that have been?
historically, it's been £40 a month for like the last 12 months.
My apologies.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
apologies, I'm talking
They
rubbish.
always
Yeah,
ask if it's too cheap.
it's okay, yep.
The clerk has investigated.
Right,
Yeah.
I will take a look at this. Yep, yep, I'll take a look at this.
Okay, anything else on the schedule? Otherwise, someone happy to move a receipt? All those in favour? Thank you. Agenda item 18 is the statement of accounts.
Anybody has any questions, the mayor move receipt.
Okay. All those in favour? Thank you. Oh, was that a question or was that the hand? You can get that.
I will,
I can answer that. When I spoke to the clerk last week with the general check-in, her login details are all at the office and she hasn't been at the office. She is due to pop in for an hour or two this week where she'll be able to log in and check. So the secretary will have that as an action this week.
will do.
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry that hasn't been sooner, but yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good point. Agenda item 19 then is the vote to go into private session, purely because the meeting, full council last week was confidential.
Need to be enough for.
We will need to, once the vote's done. Yeah, Councillor Bridges.
I just briefly about that. Article, the confidential and having shared the local press. Strictly speaking, do we now, if you have been used, do we now need to apply that?
Thank you for advice.
Great,
That's what
I guess because we don't have anybody here, do we, and, you know, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that is a very, very valid point, actually. Does anyone disagree? Councillor Gray?
That not as Mr. Sawyer and PCP are involved in that, we're not, are we not happy to set
Is there
them as well?
anything?
I think this can verify, mate. I think now that the press release has gone out, I agree with I think it is an issue to go confidential.
So, no.
I fully understand why the original meeting is confidential. But now I don't think there's a need to discuss. And are we not just basically going through the minutes of the meeting to say that they are correct and it's what happened anyway?
Okay. So, I'm probably looking at Councillor Wooden for some advice on procedural, actually. We probably still need to do the vote based on it being a confidential meeting at the time, and if it falls, then it isn't confidential, and we would do the minutes as normal, or based on.
The agenda stipulates that the reason for, which is if the council resolve which in the second, you want to
Yeah.
we find the dates and then.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really simple.
Yeah.
Use section of the public body.
Okay. So.
So I got the ability, right, and I think we can just move.
Okay, so, yeah. Thank you for that. Does anyone have an issue with that, I think is the question? Okay, agenda item 20, then minutes of the special full council of the Milford Haven Town Council held on the 17th of February. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. Meeting is closed. Thank you all for a good meeting.